Hello and good evening and welcome to This and That, number 8. And, what a bumpy start we've had tonight. A few little crashes and things and internet's not working properly and stuff like that. But we fight on. This thing is not going to beat us. As usual, we have our Twitter running, although I might need to reset that now I've rebooted my internet connection. And we have the live chat room on YouTube, so good evening if you're joining us live. We're very pleased to have you along. Please do join in the chat, that would be marvellous. So this evening's show, like all the other ones we've done before, is really a test program. It's just us having a bit of an experiment and sort of, we put it out there so that anybody else who's interested can have a look at what we've been playing at, and so we hope you enjoy that. But it's not meant to be a really polished broadcast. We do our best, but it's not always that easy. I'm trying to do the production here on my own and try and talk on the program as well, and trust me, Tom Sinclair makes it look easy. Anyway, I have with me some guests this evening. I'd like to say hello to Jon over in Sweden, as we can see Jon at the moment. Good evening, Jon. And we've got lost his audio, I think.
I just muted myself once too much. Good evening.
Right. Good evening. And Merle over in the USA with a pussycat.
Oh, gosh.
Merle's got a big caption up that you can't see, which says Merle Dixon. We'll have to give you a full screener so that you can put your caption up again, Merle, and then people can see it.
No, I did that to hide the cat.
Oh, right. Excellent. Oh, well, there you go. Anyway, so that's brilliant. Yeah, we've had a bumpy start tonight. When haven't we, though, actually? We're broadcasting at... the stream's not looking too clever again. I think my internet is bad today. It's always bad, I know. We're broadcasting at 400k bits, and it's struggling. But 480p, I've got 1 meg up tonight, just 1 meg up, and we've got about 8 megs down, or at least that's the sync speed, but I think probably that's not really what we're getting. So I hope over in Sweden and in the US you can see me alright and hear me alright, and I hope anybody who might be on the YouTube live channel, I hope that you can see us okay. It's not looking too good. Anyway, at least you get to watch us on the recorded version of the program later. So anyway, let's see what everybody's been up to. We got Jon here on the screen at the moment, so I'm going to go to Jon first. Anything exciting been happening in your neck of the woods, Jon?
Not really. I have enjoyed watching other people's live streaming work during this weekend, and where the WFTDA, the Women's Flat Track Roller Derby, had their championship in Portland. So we've been watching that here from the home couch. I felt like a really sports nerd.
Excellent.
I don't watch sports in general, but that is fun to watch. And yeah. So that was most of the weekend, aside from a visit to our local club's new training facility. They are moving into a dedicated building where we're going to have nothing but roller derby, and that's going to be awesome. But there's a lot of work to be done. But I was there and saw it for the first time. It's a big room, and still we don't know where to put everything. But it's going to be fun, and we obviously hope to set up dedicated platforms for cameras so we can do some streaming from there. But it will probably take a few months before we can try that out.
Yeah, these things are a long time in the planning, aren't they? Really, there's a lot more to it when you actually get to it. There's so much kit to find places for and good vantage points and so on. Well, that sounds like you've had a busy time. So Merle's here with us as well as we saw earlier. So Merle, what have you been up to in the last week apart from chopping wood?
I haven't, yeah, I have been chopping wood. Haven't had a lot of exciting things going on. I seem to have had two family members decide they wanted to move in the same week, and so I had to help. I couldn't find a way to say no.
Well,
but in my spare time, I have spent it on eBay and Amazon, just looking at things that I need so badly.
what, flashing lights, you mean?
Things that I need so badly. I've been watching Tom Sinclair, and I called him one day actually, and he said, "You need this, and you need this, and you need this." And so all I can say is it's mostly Tom's fault. But I had a good weekend, and I hope everyone else did too.
Yeah, well, I had a good weekend. There you go. It's all Tom's fault. Yeah. Yes. Well, I think I know what you've been buying as well, Mel. So you perhaps we ought to let everybody see it. Oh, there we go. Let's switch you over there as well. Oh, there it is. Your new Christmas lights.
Yes, I like pretty lights.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Let's get mine in preview. There we are. I've got some flashing lights.
Oh, yes. Mine needs to look like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll towards the end of. We'll have to try have a mess around with that and see if we can't get some of those lights flashing. Are you on 17? Are you on 17 still or 18?
I'm on 18.
Excellent. Oh, you could have flashing lights by the end of the program then. So we may have found our topic for this evening. Utterly spontaneous this evening. I mean, that is complete spontaneity, isn't it? That's what we advertise the program as. So the stream's still not looking very healthy. Are you all right with that, John? Hang on a minute. John's showing us his flashing lights as well. Excellent. Let's do that properly full screen. He's fading in and out. It's a bit ghostly.
Yes, it is.
Oh, he's moving one of his faders. That's what it is. Yeah, I've got one of those as well.
Yeah.
It's so have you got flashing lights on yours, John?
Yes. Mine is actually more or less configured. Obviously, I'm going to change everything when I've learned how to use it. But for now, yeah, I'm still running into some functions that I would like to have. But I guess you can't do everything in the first try. And there's a few features in vMix that I would like to have added. But yeah,
I'm sure it'll happen.
From a price point, it's a really good value.
Yeah, have to go there. I don't think you can beat it, really.
It's the most for the money of anything that I have bought lately. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, I think it's just there's so many of these things made because of Ableton Live that it's it's well supported. So I suppose we ought to sort of try and get some of your buttons doing something in the program then, Merle. That would be quite interesting.
Well, that sounds great. I would be much obliged if you could do that.
That's the problem when you have too many buttons to play with.
Yeah.
Okay, so have you got it plugged in?
Yes, plugged in.
Right.
And
So I'm not sure what the best way to do this is. I suppose we ought to say that if you've got a device like this, the first thing you need to do is to sort of enable all the MIDI functions. Obviously, Merle knows all this. We're just going to cover it just for the purposes of completeness. So down here in the bottom corner, you've got your button for the shortcuts. That's one way of getting at it anyway. If you press it, you get all your shortcuts pop up, and there's an edit button here. Which one?
where is that button?
This one it's down here. Let's go the right way. There we are. You got a little next to your hamburger menu down here. Can you see that?
Okay,
all right?
the one that the hamburger menu that I've never used. Okay.
Oh right. So next to that, you've got that little full Windows icon. If you press that, where I'm pointing at the moment, you can see what I'm pointing at, presumably. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then you will get this shortcuts box pop up, which has got an edit button on it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you press that, you get your shortcuts. And you can see I've got quite a few defined already on here. But the important thing is, with a device like this one, you need to turn on the MIDI. So it is a MIDI device. I've actually got two connected on here, but the APC Mini shows up, and you just got to check that you've got a little check by it, a little tick there. I don't know how well you can see that. But anyway, so make sure you've got a little checkbox next to the APC Mini to show that it's activated within vMix. Okay, so you've got that on, haven't you, Mel?
Well, actually, I don't see it.
Don't you?
For some reason. Now, I activated it in the MIDI settings menu.
All right, but it's not showing up
And
there.
there's a little checkbox there, so I think I'm okay.
Cool.
MIDI devices. Now, I don't mean to. Let's see. Bring that box up again. Show me how you brought that up.
So I've gone into my shortcuts here. So you can either go settings and then do shortcuts, where I'm pointing with my mouse pointer, which then gives you all your list of all your shortcuts. And you can do add, edit, clone, remove, and then you've got MIDI settings, where I'm pointing now.
Yes.
And when you press on
And
that,
it shows, and it does show my APC Mini with a check mark in it.
excellent.
So that means that we've done that, okay?
Yeah, so that's enabled.
Yes.
So now what you need to do is to actually start creating some shortcuts to actually make the buttons do anything. So I don't know what you've got in your list of inputs, but if you've got a sound effect or something you want to, maybe an input you want to bring up on one of the buttons, let's say. Have you got an input that you can use just as a test?
Why not use the fader bar?
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. Yeah, it is a good test.
Okay.
Good idea, John. Good idea. All right, so we can go and add an input, or add a shortcut rather, which is the first button there.
Yes.
And when you do that, you will get a screen a bit like this one. I'm just trying to adjust this so it can be seen. Now if you've ever done a shortcut with the keyboard, then you'll be used to pressing find here, or perhaps even selecting the key. But if you press find, it then says press a button on your keyboard or controller. So I'm actually going to move one of the faders, which as I move it, you can see actually the value going up and down here. It's showing. I don't know if you can see that next to my mouse pointer, but as I move the fader up and down, the value there is changing. Are you getting that?
Yes, and I am doing the same thing.
Excellent. So that means it's recognised the fader.
Yep.
So I'm going to press OK on that one to say that's the fader I want to use. And then we have to choose the function of that fader. And there's a variety of things here. One of them is T-bar, I think. So if we go for, let's just try and find it. Oh, it's set fader, isn't it? Yeah, so if you press transition on the left, where I have there's an option down here for, I think it's that one, set fader.
Set fader, yes.
Yeah. Now in theory, if I press OK on that one, when I now move that fader, having done OK on it, you can now see the effect. It's actually fading between preview and input. Yeah, I can see the effect you're having there.
I like that. Oh, I'm in heaven.
The faders are lovely, actually. They're all right on this thing. So there you go. That's a simple one. I've defined some other ones. I've got a music playlist, which if I start it playing, you can turn the volume up and down on the music input, which is great if you're doing, starting a program. So you play your music out, and then as you want to come into the show, you can just fade it down nicely. That's rather cool.
Well, yeah.
So you can use the faders for all sorts of things. I've got one I've got one here set for my microphone input, so I can fade myself up. I can fade you in and out as well.
You put a fader on your microphone, you say?
Yeah, you can. I'm just showing what you might use the faders for.
Yeah.
Those are possibilities, and it's just a case of choosing the right input. So you press find, you press the button or move the fader that you want to use, and then you assign a function to it and press OK, and that's it really. So you if you've got you could do cut. I use the shift button. Let me see if I can get my camera view there. So down here on the bottom right there's a button that actually doesn't light up, but I use this shift button to cut between my inputs. So every time I press it cuts, which is quite useful.
So it cuts from your
preview. Yeah, that's right.
That's a good idea. Let's set that up.
Let's set that one up. Right. Well, I'll show you what I've done with it. So if I go back through into the shortcuts and I find it, I'm going to go the alternative way into shortcuts, going via the settings button at the top there, and then down to shortcuts. I've already defined one to do that, so what I'll do is edit it so that you can actually see what I've put in.
I'm going to use the same one that you did.
Yeah. So what you would do is to press add, and then you would press.
I'm there.
Then you press find,
and then press the button on the keyboard.
That's right.
Or the controller.
That's right. And it should tell you which one it's identified.
It's channel 1 note, 98 velocity, 127.
That's right.
Okay.
So you OK that one, and then you choose a function for it, and the function I've used is cut. I don't know where you get cut from in the list. It's a transition.
So I want to click OK then after I have determined that it found it.
Yes, and then you want to press this drop down on.
No, it doesn't like that.
Doesn't it?
He says, please select a function.
Yes, that's right. So you've got to go here. I don't know if you can see on what I'm sending out to you.
Good. Yeah, I'm okay now.
So you want to transition, and then it's cut, which I've chosen here. Okay.
Yep.
And then you OK on that.
Okay, and all is good.
And then
so
that
now
button
that
should
cut from preview to yes. Oh, I am thrilled. I'm thrilled.
That's good, isn't it?
How can you get something that does all this for so little money?
So yeah, it's quite nice, isn't it? It's much easier to do than clicking around all over the place, isn't it?
It's great. It really is.
Yeah.
And I found
that good to sleep.
I'm sure that you know, because you are taking care of everything when you do these shows. You're the producer. It takes quite a lot to be able to use your mouse to do all these functions.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Just takes a lot of the work away.
It does. It means you can actually use your mouse to do some other things, which is quite nice. So what I'm going to do now is take a back seat for a second and let Jon walk you through the activators and getting your first light to operate. Okay, is that right, Jon?
So, Merle, if you go back into the settings, right below the shortcuts, you find the activators.
Yes.
And you have to enable your device as well, just like with shortcuts. You would find down in the lower right corner here, you find the enable device, where you can open up and see all your supported devices, and you can put a check mark in the APC Mini.
And it is already checked.
Perfect. Now, what I have made it a rule for myself to, after fiddling a little back and forth, as you can see, I do have a few activators here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I ended up starting to, whenever I defined a button, I would start out by defining its default value. And as you can see here, I didn't start out like that. The default value is the behavior of the button or indicator or motivator whenever nothing has happened. So you basically click add a new activator, and just like with the shortcut, you click find, you hit a button. In this case, I'm using the square button shift key that doesn't have a light. So you select the button in the exact same way as you did with the shortcut.
Okay. So I've already used that square button. I'll use the round one above it. And it found it. Click OK.
And what does that button do now?
It's a good question.
It doesn't do anything, probably.
No. We haven't programmed it to do anything yet.
You know what? Try to click find one more at a time.
Should I cancel this one then?
No, you just click find.
Okay. I can't as long as this is up.
Oh, then you have to cancel. I'm not sure.
Now I click find. Press the button.
Choose the upper leftmost button. The square one. So at the top row.
Top row, top left. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
That should have
channel 1, note 56, velocity 127.
Yes.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Then you select the event called default.
Yes.
And then Once you have done that, you select, let's say, we just leave it off. That is the default value.
Okay.
And you just click OK.
Done.
Now, go in and click Add one more time.
Yes.
And click Find.
Mm-hmm.
And then you click the same button once more. The upper left.
Okay.
Now, the first time we defined the default value, now we can define the event that will actually make it do something. So if you select, in the event field, select input.
Done.
And then in the drop-down box below, you select your input number 1. Like your camera.
That is right. Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And depending on your setup, I assign them to the input number by putting a check mark in the button below. That will hardwire to the input number. Otherwise, it will be
in the blue.
No, this one. In the blue.
Assign activator to input number. Checked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Then you go down to the type and you find the APC Mini square LED.
Yes.
And then you choose a color.
The green color looks good.
Yeah. Great.
Oh, wait. So this would be a blinking light then?
It depends. If you take the upper row of colors, it will be permanent full light. And if you take the lower row, then you have the blinking.
Okay. What did you do?
I went with the non-blinking one.
And that's the upper row. Very good.
Or did I? I'm not sure, actually. No, I think I actually went with blinking. I changed it.
Okay.
Green blinking.
I'm green blinking.
Yes, I have green blink. And then you click OK.
Done.
Now try to select put your input number 1 in program.
It doesn't want to let me use that without closing this dialog box.
No, it probably won't. So you can click OK.
Okay. Now.
So what happens if you on the screen in vMix selects your input number 1 and put it in program? Look at your control.
I have a blinking light.
You have a blinking light.
That is so cool. And that tells me that it is in transmit.
You have to do everything twice. There's a lot of work to it. I find it a bit confusing.
Yeah.
I went on with a map and walking through methodically, doing the same for one input at a time because I find it very difficult to recall. How far did I go? And I mean, who can remember that node number 56 is the upper left button?
Yeah, really.
There's a bit of help though. I did find some pictures and a little bit of documentation. There are some people that have mapped out the keyboard or the MIDI controller.
Yeah, I've got the MIDI map for this one. It is very useful to have it, actually. I can let you have that if you want.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah, just that would help, I think, quite a bit. Whoever set this up originally must have taken them a while to figure out how to do that twice.
Well, I guess it comes with the logic. I mean, when you set this up and you make the system for it, I mean, one thing is a programmable approach to it. John, so you can probably talk about that. And the other thing is the design. I mean, it's two different things, which is also why it's so difficult to program.
Yeah,
because
so
it is actually difficult. The method of doing it is not difficult, but it's difficult to keep track with all the buttons and recall what kind of function you have put where, and then make the corresponding actuators for it.
Yeah, my original idea was to make a map of the keyboard as I programmed each button. So I don't. If you didn't do that, I don't know how you would know where you were at.
No, as I said, I've done it in a very structured manner.
Yeah, I've used demo labels on mine, but you do have to cut them down. The other thing would be just to write on it with a biro, I think. If it would possibly wear off, but like Jon was saying, if you have the keys done in a reasonably structured way, you can use the colours, the default colours, to sort of try and give you some clue as to what things are. For instance, if I show you my layout here, I've got all my inputs along the top are in green and the previews are all in red. And down here I've got my keys for the blackboard display thing that I use, and they're just green because they go straight to the output when I press them. But that little clump and shape of keys, I know what that is without actually labelling it. And some of the other ones here, like my applause button, is this one that's not actually lit up at all. And these two red ones are the audio cutoff, so I can shut the audio down. And so you can kind of, by doing different patterns of lights, you can sort of remind yourself what they are without actually having any labels on them. But
exactly, whatever structure works best for you.
Yeah, I have though labelled these 5 keys here with cut, fade, merge, wipe, and cube, because I would never remember what they did otherwise. I think it works quite well. I like Jon's idea of taking the lid off and spraying it white, and then you could actually write something on there and make it more readable.
I think what would work best for me, and I can't recall the name of the label maker at this time, but there is a label maker that is flat, and you can make it to fit those keys. That would be wonderful. If it wasn't, an arm and a leg, I'll invest in that.
I'll have to get my little Dymo label. I'll show you what it looks like. I think it was about 40 quid, which is about $60, something like that. Probably even cheaper now because it's an old one. It might not have even been that much. But anyway, it prints these little flat labels, and they work quite well.
Your labels are flat.
Yeah.
You say.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong.
I suppose come to that, you could just buy some labels and print on them, couldn't you? If you've got an inkjet printer or something, and cut them out and stick them on.
Yes. So I'm trying to use the blinking function for whatever is requiring my attention. For instance, this one here is my master audio mute. So if I press it, it will start blinking in order to get my attention.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the same goes with the top most one. That is my streaming button. Whenever it's blinking, I am not streaming. And the same with the one below, that is recording. So whenever this one is blinking, it is not recording.
I think your memory is much better than mine. If I don't make a map, I'm sure to get lost.
As you see, I have actually made some kind of map up here.
Right.
So if you see here, live recording external.
I do. Yes.
So as you can guess, number 3 here is constantly lit, and that indicates that my external output is active. So if I switch off my external active, we stop blinking. And of course, guess what's using the external output? That is Zoom.
Yeah.
And as you can see, I've started to make some changes. These are my preview 1, 2, 3, 4. So this means that if I push number 4, it will turn red and put the input here in the upper right corner. Input 3, lower right, and 1 and 2 will go full screen. But the buttons down here are dedicated for instant replay.
Yeah.
And as you can see, the red ones here, they will set what camera input in my instant replay that I will mark for replay at the most recent event, while the lower green here will send the most recent event into
that has to help you so much.
Yes. I already have the Shuttle Pro, but they're handling different tasks. So you work with the instant replay on the Shuttle Pro, and you can control it and mark in and out, but you don't really have these functions here. Down here, I have my master audio. I have my headphone audio for my monitoring. This one will control audio for my live output. So whatever is in program, I control the audio here. And this one will do the same for preview. And now that I cannot recall and remember what they're doing, I have a...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's the way around it, isn't it?
Yeah. And these 4 that are lit here are my faders. So I have some fade and cut. This one is changing function, but these 2 are stingers, number 1 and 2. So, yeah.
Yeah, you guys have helped me a great deal.
And then I have my cheap bar here on this one, lower left.
Yeah, you got about 3 or 4 hours of playing there, I think, Merle, to get that set up. How you like it?
And then you realize that you are either missing buttons, too many, and then you start all over because you want to rearrange everything.
Yeah, that sounds just about right. For me, anyway. Yeah.
But I guess, I mean, I actually already changed mine after last week's show, because Giles showed his, and now it's my turn to show mine. I was having them turned off, the top row here, my program and preview, and then they only lit up whenever they were active. But I kind of better liked Giles' approach, having them blink.
Yeah. I think
So
so.
now you can see it's my input number 4 that is live. I can put number 5 in preview. Here we go.
Yeah, and the cool part about this is it was just completely by accident that this device worked with vMix.
Yeah. And before I shut up, finally, you can just see number 4 in program and number 5 in preview.
Yeah.
Switch back and then do like this. You can see that they have switched places.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. I like.
It's working.
I think it's a really good.
I'm sure this is going to be useful.
It's a good demonstration.
Really good, yeah, it's a really good monitoring interface.
I think there are others that will be very interested in this too.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And again, for this price point, I mean, we have to compare this one with something that can do something similar. And that would actually be the top model from X-Keys with the T-bar controller and everything. I mean, and on that, you only have one slider.
Yeah.
And that one costs, I don't know what.
700 sticks in my mind.
Yeah, I've got a figure like that in my mind.
More.
I do think this is a very good value for money device.
Yeah. So I think it's very impressive, and I realized when I was playing around with this that with a well-structured controller like this, and just like for the sake of argument, I have the Nano Control 2 as well. So I can have my sound engineer control the audio inputs using the Nano Control 2. I can have a TV producer working with the APC Mini to make the video editing, and then my instant replay person can sit with mouse and keyboard and the replay controller as well.
Yeah.
So we can actually sit three people in front of one computer, and all can work at the same time.
Yeah, considering the type of show that you're producing, it could easily take those 3 people to do it properly.
Yeah, and from this World Championship this weekend, I mean, I'm not flaming anyone when saying that they could have used some more people.
Uh-huh.
They could certainly have had one that took care of the audio and another one taking care of the video switching.
Yeah.
And from what I can see, it was a one-man band.
Oh.
Aside from the 15 camera operators or something like that. But yeah.
That's a difficult job to do on your own, definitely.
Yes.
It needs the extra people, I think.
Yeah, and I'm still pleased that I have a Martin that takes care of all my sound. So
yeah,
until I've had one audio feed in, and I just have to turn it up or turn it down. Then the audio on that one has been picture perfect.
Fantastic. That is good. Well, I think that we've covered the APC Mini quite nicely there, or it certainly is an introduction to it, and it'll be interesting to see how Merle gets on with that next week. We'll probably have millions of flashing lights, Merle, I guess.
Will I be tested next week on this? I hope not.
It looks like you could be.
Don't forget that I'm quite old and my memory is not quite as good as it was. We may have.
You'll be able to go back and look at the. You'll be able to go back and look at the recording of this program, and the stream's not been.
Be sure you don't cut out anything important.
No, I won't. You'll have to wait till tomorrow for that, though, because the stream's not been very good tonight. So it's going to be a bit choppy, I think. But what we're going to do, I'm going to end the show now because we've done sort of 56 minutes. We've got 6 minutes left in this meeting. So I'd just like to thank Jon and Merle for their participation in tonight's program and their their input. I think it's been most interesting. I just want to ask you one last thing before we go, Merle. 100% CPU. Yes. Any more news?
Quickly, 100% CPU. The news is rather different. I'm not getting any hits on my 100% CPU video on YouTube. And that tells me that it's cleaning itself up somehow. So I believe that it actually was a problem with Chrome and Firefox with the writing too much data. So
yeah,
looks like everyone's getting it taken care of.
That's excellent news. Excellent news. And of course, if you want to have a look at Merle's video on the 100% CPU issue, you can go to broadcastingonabudget.com. I believe that's right, Merle. We've put a link
that's
in
correct.
the.
Yeah, and there is an earlier video, and it will lead you to the update.
Excellent. So that's available on the links down below. For people watching live, I'm going to end the stream and restart it with a lower bitrate so that you can see it properly. So there will be a small break in transmission, and then we'll be doing the post show in a separate little broadcast. So do stick around. We have got people in the chat room, which is nice. So thank you once again. Thank you for watching. If you've been watching live or if you're watching the recording, we appreciate you watching. We hope it's been useful and you got some entertainment out of watching us make a mess of it all. Thank you, Merle.
You're quite welcome, Giles, and thank you and Jon for helping me with my APC Mini. Everyone have a good week.
No worries. And
yes.
Thank you very much, Jon. That's been excellent, as always. I hope you'll both stick around for the post-show, which we will be doing in about a couple of minutes. But until next time, I'm going to press the button marked stop. Good night.